The silver chains burn against my wrists like liquid fire, each link searing into my skin as my father counts the blood money with steady hands. He won't look at me, hasn't looked at me since the day Dr. Morrison delivered the verdict that would seal my fate. 3 years. 3 years of trying, of prayers to the moon goddess, of herbal remedies and desperate rituals. All for nothing. She's got good bone structure, says the trader, a grizzled human with tobacco-stained teeth. Strong shoulders. Should fetch a decent price in the fighting rings, even with the defect. Defect. The word hits me like a physical blow. That's all I am now, damaged goods, a broken vessel that can't fulfill the most basic purpose of a she-wolf. My mother's sobs echo behind me, but she doesn't step forward. None of them do. The Barren ones fight harder, the second trader observes, making notes on his tablet. Desperate to prove their worth. You made the right choice, Ravencrest. My father's jaw tightens, but his voice remains steady. Just take her. The silver burns deeper as they drag me toward the transport truck. Every step away from my pack's territory feels like another piece of my soul tearing away. My wolf, Kira, has been silent for months now, hiding deep within me ever since we learned the truth. But suddenly, as my childhood home disappears behind a line of trees, something stirs. This isn't how our story ends, she whispers, her voice rusty with disuse. The truck jolts over a pothole, and I'm thrown against the other captives, 3 male wolves who avoid my eyes, probably ashamed to be sharing space with a barren female. The traders have been discussing the route, something about taking the back roads through Shadow Pine Forest to avoid pack patrols. Smart. No alpha wants human slavers crossing their territory, but money talks louder than pack law these days. How much further, the driver calls back. Another hour through the forest, then we're clear. The words die as something slams into the side of the truck with enough force to send us skidding sideways. Metal screams against asphalt, and I taste blood as my head snaps against the wall. Through the rear window, I catch a glimpse of massive shapes moving through the trees, wolves, but unlike any I've seen before. Their eyes burn gold in the darkness, and they move with supernatural speed. What the hell? The second trader reaches for his rifle just as the back doors explode inward. The largest wolf I've ever seen fills the doorway, easily twice the size of any pack member I know. His fur is midnight black with silver markings that seem to shimmer in the moonlight, and those golden eyes fix on me with an intensity that makes my breath catch. For a heartbeat, the world stops. Then chaos erupts. The other captives shift immediately, their forms blurring as they transform and launch themselves at our captors. Silver chains snap like twine under the force of their change, and suddenly I'm the only one still in human form, still bound, still helpless. Shift, one of the rescued males snarls at me. What are you waiting for? I try. God, I try. But Kira remains buried deep, unreachable, and the silver burns too much to concentrate. The giant black wolf's eyes narrow, and he pads closer, his massive head tilting as he studies me. The truck lurches again as someone, or something, attacks the cab. Gunshots ring out, followed by very human screams that cut off abruptly. The golden-eyed wolf doesn't flinch, his attention focused entirely on me. Who are you? The voice in my head isn't mine or Kira's. It's deep, ancient, and completely foreign. I can't answer, can't even think properly with the silver poison spreading through my system. But something deep inside me recognizes him, recognizes the power radiating from his form. This isn't just any wolf. This is something else entirely. His massive head moves closer, and I catch his scent, pine forests and mountain snow, with an underlying wildness that makes my pulse race. When his nose brushes against the silver chains, his lip curls back in a snarl that makes my captor's blood-curdling screams seem like whispers. The chains begin to smoke where he touches them. Impossible, I think. Nothing can neutralize silver except. The metal links crumble to ash in seconds, falling away from my wrists like burned paper. The relief is instant and overwhelming, but before I can process what just happened, pain explodes through every nerve ending in my body. My bones begin to crack and reform, muscles stretching and changing, and I realize with dawning terror that I'm shifting. But this isn't like any shift I've experienced before. Silver light pours from my skin, growing brighter with each passing second. The other wolves, both rescuer and rescued, back away with whimpers of fear. The remaining trader drops his rifle and runs, crashing through the forest underbrush in blind panic. I try to scream, but the sound that emerges is a howl that shakes the very trees around us. Power courses through me like lightning, ancient and terrible and completely beyond my control. My wolf form materializes around me, but instead of my usual russet coat, my fur blazes silver white, each strand seeming to hold moonlight itself. The massive black wolf doesn't retreat. Instead, he steps closer, his golden eyes wide with something that looks like recognition. When he speaks again, his mental voice carries a note of awe. At last. We've been waiting so long. Waiting for what? I managed to ask, my new wolf form trembling with the effort of containing whatever's happening to me. For you to awaken, Luna Ravencrest. For you to remember what you really are. The silver light begins to fade, leaving me gasping and confused in my wolf form. Around us, the other rescued wolves watch in stunned silence, and I can practically smell their fear and reverence in equal measure. I don't understand, I tell him. I'm nobody. I'm broken. You are the daughter of the silver moon. His mental voice is certain, reverent. The firstborn in 3 centuries. And your barrenness isn't a curse, Luna. It's a gift. Before I can ask what he means, the sound of approaching vehicles echoes through the forest. Pack enforcers, most likely, drawn by the howls and gunshots. The black wolf's ears prick forward, and he turns to the others. We leave. Now. Wait, I call out as they begin to melt back into the shadows. Who are you? What did you mean about the silver moon? He pauses at the tree line, his golden eyes meeting mine one last time. I am Demon Blackthorn, and I've been hunting for you my entire life. The moon goddess has plans for you, Luna Ravencrest. Plans that have nothing to do with bearing cubs and everything to do with saving our kind. From what? His mental voice grows grim. From the darkness that's coming. From the ancient enemy that stirs once more. You were never meant to be a mother, Luna. You were meant to be a weapon. And then he's gone, vanished into the forest with the others, leaving me alone with the wreckage of the transport truck and the bodies of my former captors. In the distance, I can hear the rumble of approaching vehicles, the voices of pack enforcers who will have questions I can't answer. I shift back to human form, my clothes somehow intact despite the transformation, and stare at my hands. They look normal now, but I can still feel the power humming beneath my skin, waiting. Daughter of the silver moon. The words echo in my mind as the first headlights pierce the darkness of the forest. Whatever I am, whatever I'm meant to become, one thing is certain. My life as Luna Ravencrest, the barren outcast, is over. But what comes next terrifies me more than the silver chains ever did. The enforcer's vehicles screech to a halt, and boots hit the ground running. I close my eyes and prepare to lie, because the truth, that I've just discovered I'm some kind of prophesied weapon with powers I don't understand, would only make me a target. Again. But as I hear them calling my name, searching through the wreckage, one question burns brighter than all the rest in my mind. If Demon Blackthorn has been hunting for me my entire life, why did he let my family sell me in the first place? And what darkness is coming that requires a weapon like me to stop it? Wanting to see what would happen next, subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 2. 3 hours later, I'm sitting in the Ravencrest Pack House's main hall, wrapped in a scratchy wool blanket while Alpha Marcus paces in front of me like a caged animal. My father stands against the far wall, still refusing to meet my eyes, while my mother hovers nearby with a cup of tea I haven't touched. Tell me again, Marcus says, his voice deadly quiet, how you managed to break silver chains. I keep my story simple. Slavers attacked. Unknown wolves intervened. Chaos. I was freed in the fighting and the chains must have been damaged. I know nothing about my rescuers. The lie tastes like ash on my tongue, but the truth would be worse. Silver doesn't just break, Marcus continues. Especially not the grade they use for transport. Those chains could hold a beta-class wolf indefinitely. Maybe they were defective, I murmur, pulling the blanket tighter around my shoulders. Marcus stops pacing and fixes me with a stare that makes my skin crawl. He's always looked at me like I was a puzzle he couldn't solve, ever since I was a child. Now that look has intensified into something almost predatory. The enforcers found scorch marks, Luna. Perfect circles around where the chains would have been. He takes a step closer. What aren't you telling me? Before I can answer, the main doors burst open with enough force to rattle the windows. Every wolf in the room immediately drops into defensive postures, including me, as a presence that feels like concentrated lightning fills the space. The man who enters doesn't look like he should command such an immediate and visceral response. He's tall but not exceptionally so, with dark hair and sharp features that would be handsome if not for the absolute coldness in his steel-gray eyes. He moves with the fluid grace of a predator, each step measured and purposeful. Power radiates from him in waves that make my wolf whimper and try to hide. Alpha King, Marcus breathes, and I feel the blood drain from my face. Kieran's Shadow Moon. The most feared alpha in North America, ruler of the Northern Territories, and according to pack gossip, a man who once killed an entire rival pack for the crime of crossing his borders without permission. What the hell is he doing in our small pack's territory? His cold gaze sweeps the room, cataloging threats and dismissing them just as quickly, before finally settling on me. When our eyes meet, something electric passes between us, a jolt of recognition that makes my breath catch and my heart stutter. Mate. The word whispers through my mind, but I shove it down violently. Not again. I won't be claimed by another alpha, especially not this one. Leave us, Kieran says, his voice carrying an authority that brooks no argument. Your Majesty, this is pack business, Marcus begins. Now. The single word drops the temperature in the room by 20 degrees. Marcus signals for everyone to file out, but I remain seated, my chin raised in defiance. I'm not going anywhere. Kieran's lips curve into what might be called a smile on anyone else. On him, it looks distinctly predatory. I wasn't talking to you, little wolf. The endearment sends an unwelcome shiver down my spine, but I force myself to hold his gaze. Don't call me that. What should I call you then? Luna Ravencrest, daughter of Robert and Marie, born under the silver moon 22 years ago. He begins to circle me, and I have to fight every instinct that screams at me to track his movement. Supposedly barren. Supposedly broken. Supposedly worthless. Each word hits like a physical blow, but I keep my expression neutral. Get to the point. The point, my dear, is that you're sitting in this pathetic excuse for a pack house when you should be in my territory, preparing for your true purpose. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. Let me guess, you need a new pet? A broken toy to play with until you get bored? His movement stops abruptly, and suddenly he's in front of me, moving faster than should be possible. One moment I'm looking at empty air, the next he's crouched before my chair, his face inches from mine. The scent of pine and snow fills my nostrils, exactly like the wolf from the forest. You, I whisper, recognition hitting like a sledgehammer. You're Demon. Demon is what my pack calls me. An old nickname. His eyes search my face intently. But you, Luna, will call me Kieran. Or mate. Or husband, once the formalities are complete. I'm on my feet before I realize I've moved, the blanket falling away. Like hell I will. It wasn't a request. His voice remains conversational, but there's steel underneath. My seer had a vision 3 decades ago. A broken moon would save my bloodline from an ancient curse. A she-wolf whose silver light could cleanse the poison that's been slowly killing my family for generations. I'm not your savior, I snarl, backing toward the door. I'm nobody's savior. My twin brother lies dying because of that curse. For the first time, emotion creeps into his voice, raw pain that makes my chest tighten despite myself. The heir to my throne, reduced to a shadow of himself. The poison spreads a little more each day, and our pack healers are helpless against it. I pause, my hand on the door handle. What does that have to do with me? Everything. He rises to his full height, towering over me. Your light doesn't just break silver chains, Luna. It purifies. It heals. It destroys dark magic at its very source. You're insane, I breathe, but even as the words leave my mouth, I remember the way the chains crumbled to ash at his touch, the way silver light poured from my skin. Am I? Tell me you didn't feel the power when you shifted. Tell me the very air didn't sing with energy you'd never experienced before. He takes a step closer, and I press my back against the door. Tell me you don't feel the mate bond pulling at you right now. No. The word comes out as barely a whisper. Liar. Another step. I can scent your arousal, little wolf. Your wolf recognizes what you refuse to acknowledge. Heat floods my cheeks, but I lift my chin defiantly. Even if any of this is true, I won't be owned. Not by you, not by anyone. I've had enough of males who think they know what's best for me. Then what do you propose? His question catches me off guard. I propose you leave me alone. Not an option. My brother's life depends on you. Then we have a problem. Quick as lightning, his hand shoots out to grip my wrist. Not painfully, but firmly enough that I can't pull away. The moment our skin makes contact, electricity shoots up my arm, and I gasp at the intensity. Let go of me. Look at your wrist, Luna. I glance down and freeze. Where his fingers touch my skin, a faint silver glow emanates, exactly like what happened during my shift in the forest. But this is different, controlled, purposeful, beautiful rather than terrifying. This is what happens when true mates touch, he says softly. This is what happens when your power recognizes its complement. I jerk my hand away, the glow fading instantly. I don't care what some ancient prophecy says. I won't be used. Who said anything about using you? His eyes narrow dangerously. I'm offering you a partnership. A chance to discover what you really are, away from this pack that discarded you like garbage. Partnership? I laugh bitterly. You just told me I belong to you. I said you were my mate. There's a difference. Not in my experience. Something shifts in his expression, a flicker of understanding, maybe even regret. Your previous mate didn't treat you well. It's not a question, and I don't dignify it with an answer. Instead, I cross my arms over my chest and glare at him. Why should I trust you? Because I'm offering you truth, something you've clearly had precious little of. He moves to one of the windows, gazing out at the pack grounds. Tell me, Luna, what do you know about your birth? What does that have to do with anything? Everything. Your parents told you that you were born under a silver moon, correct? That it was an auspicious sign? So, silver moons occur perhaps once in a generation. The last one before your birth was 43 years ago. He turns back to me, his expression grave. But you weren't born under a silver moon, Luna. You were born during a lunar eclipse that turned the moon silver for exactly 7 minutes. My blood turns to ice. That's impossible. My parents would have told me. Would they? The same parents who sold you to human traffickers rather than admit the truth? His voice is gentle but implacable. A child born during a silver eclipse is prophesied to overthrow the existing pack hierarchies. To challenge the old ways. To bring change that the traditional alphas fear above all else. You're lying. But even as I say it, memories surface. Whispered conversations between my parents that stopped when I entered the room. The way other pack members always seemed uncomfortable around me, even before my supposed infertility became known. My mother's tears whenever anyone mentioned the night I was born. Your infertility isn't natural, Luna. It's a binding spell, placed on you as a child to contain your power. He's closer now, close enough that I can see the flecks of gold in his gray eyes. Your parents were so terrified of what you might become that they crippled you to keep you controllable. No. The word comes out strangled. No, they wouldn't. Ask them. His voice is almost kind now. Look into your mother's eyes and ask her about the night you were born. Ask her about the witch they brought to bind your power. Ask her why they really sold you. I'm shaking now, the implications hitting me like physical blows. If he's telling the truth, then everything, my supposed defect, my mate's rejection, my family's shame, all of it was built on a lie. A deliberate mutilation of who I was meant to be. Even if that's true, I whisper, it doesn't mean I'll just follow you like some lost puppy. I wouldn't expect you to. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out a small silver pendant on a chain. This will suppress your power until you learn to control it. Wear it, and you can stay here, pretend none of this happened. Live out your days as Luna the Broken. He sets it on a nearby table. Or don't wear it, and come with me to discover what you really are. The choice is yours. Why? I ask. If your brother's life depends on me, why give me a choice at all? Why not just take me? Because forced submission won't save him. Your power responds to your will, your emotions. If you come unwillingly, you'll be useless to me. His smile is sharp as a blade. Besides, I prefer my mates to choose me. The casual possessiveness in his voice makes my wolf snarl with equal parts anger and arousal. Before I can stop myself, I'm moving, my hand connecting with his cheek in a sharp slap that echoes through the room. He doesn't even flinch. Feel better? He asks conversationally. Not particularly. But the familiar burn of defiance feels good after hours of confusion and fear. Good. I was beginning to think you'd been completely broken. He rubs his cheek, but his eyes are approving rather than angry. My brother always said I'd need a mate who could stand up to me. Apparently, he was right. I haven't agreed to be your mate. Not yet, he agrees. But you will. The arrogance in his voice makes me want to hit him again, but before I can act, the door behind me opens. My mother enters hesitantly, her eyes immediately going to Kieran with a mixture of fear and something else, guilt, maybe. Luna, sweetheart, Alpha Marcus wants to see you in his office. She stops mid-sentence, her gaze falling on the pendant Kieran left on the table. Her face goes white as snow. Mama? The childhood name slips out before I can stop it. What's wrong? She looks between the pendant and Kieran, terror growing in her eyes. Where did you get that? Answer her question, Marie, Kieran says quietly. Tell her about the night she was born. My mother's hands start to shake, and suddenly I know. Everything he's told me is true. The binding spell, the silver eclipse, the lies, all of it. Mama, I whisper, heartbreak bleeding into my voice. Tell me he's lying. Tell me you didn't. We were protecting you, she whispers, tears streaming down her face. The prophecy said you would bring chaos, would destroy everything we held dear. We thought if we could just make you normal. Normal? The word explodes out of me, along with a wave of silver light that makes every wolf in a 3-mile radius whine in submission. You crippled me. You made me think I was broken. The pendant on the table begins to smoke and melt, unable to withstand the fury of my power. Kieran watches with fascination, but my mother cowers against the wall. Luna, please, you have to understand. I understand perfectly. My voice is deadly calm now, the power settling into my bones like it belongs there. You were so afraid of who I might become that you tried to erase me completely. I turn to Kieran, decision crystallizing in my mind. When do we leave? His smile is triumphant but not unkind. Now, if you're ready. I'm ready. I look at my mother one last time, memorizing her face. Tell my father that his broken daughter sends her regards. And without another word, I follow the Alpha King out into the night, leaving my old life in ashes behind me. The mate bond hums between us as we walk, no longer something I can deny or ignore. But trust? That will take time to build. And if Kieran's shadow moon thinks claiming me will be easy just because we're destined, he's about to learn exactly how wrong he is. After all, I'm not the broken moon they tried to make me. I'm the silver eclipse they were too afraid to let shine. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 3. The Shadow Moon territory is nothing like what I expected. I'd imagined something dark and forbidding, a fortress of stone and shadow befitting the most feared alpha in the continent. Instead, Kieran's lands sprawl across rolling hills covered in ancient pine forests, dotted with modern cabins and training facilities that blend seamlessly into the natural landscape. The pack house itself is a marvel of glass and timber, its soaring windows designed to let in maximum moonlight. It's beautiful, I murmur as we approach the main building, unable to hide my awe. My grandmother designed it, Kieran says, a rare softness entering his voice. She believed that wolves need light to thrive, not darkness. I file away this glimpse of sentiment for later examination. 3 days I've been here, 3 days of intensive training with his female warriors and careful conversations over shared meals. Slowly, carefully, I've been peeling back the layers of the Alpha King's facade, finding glimpses of the man underneath. He's nothing like Marcus or the other traditional alphas I've known. His beta female warriors train as equals to their male counterparts. His pack policies prioritize merit over bloodlines. When a Omega challenged one of his decisions in the dining hall yesterday, Kieran actually listened, then publicly acknowledged the validity of the concern. It's unexpected and dangerously appealing. Luna. Sarah, his head female warrior, jogs over as we enter the main hall. She's a compact powerhouse of a woman with short auburn hair and scars that speak of countless battles won. Ready for tonight's session? I want to work on channeling your power while in motion. As ready as I'll ever be, I reply, but my attention is caught by the activity happening around us. Pack members are hanging silver and red decorations, and the air hums with excited energy. What's all this for? I ask. Sarah and Kieran exchange a look that sends warning bells chiming in my head. Blood moon ceremony, Sarah says carefully. It's tomorrow night. What kind of ceremony? Ancient pack tradition, Kieran answers, but something in his tone feels off. We honor the lunar cycle, renew our bonds to the pack and each other. I study his face, searching for the deception I can sense lurking beneath his words, but before I can press further, a commotion near the main staircase draws our attention. 2 pack members are carefully carrying someone down the steps, a man who looks so much like Kieran that he can only be the twin brother. But where Kieran radiates controlled power, this man seems to be fading from the inside out. His skin has a grayish pallor, his breathing is labored, and his eyes. His eyes are completely silver, no pupil or iris visible. Raven, Kieran breathes, immediately moving toward his brother. But as soon as Raven catches sight of me, he begins to convulse violently, fighting against the hands that hold him. His mouth opens in a soundless scream, and I can see fangs that are far too long, too sharp for any normal wolf. Get her away from him, one of the pack members shouts. He's reacting to her scent. Kieran moves to block my view, but I step around him, my heart clenching at the sight of Raven's obvious agony. What's wrong with him? The curse is progressing, Kieran says tightly as his brother is carried back upstairs. Some days are worse than others. He looked like he was in pain. He is. The admission seems torn from him. Every moment of every day. I place my hand on his arm, feeling the tension coiled in his muscles. How long has he been like this? 6 months since the curse fully manifested. But it's been building for years. His jaw clenches. The healers say he has maybe a few weeks left before. Before what? Kieran's eyes meet mine, and I see depths of pain that make my chest ache. Before he loses his humanity completely. before I have to put him down like a rabid animal. The raw anguish in his voice breaks something open inside me. Without thinking, I step closer, my free hand coming up to cup his face. We'll find a way to save him. Luna. Her name is a whisper on his lips, and for a moment, the mask slips completely. I see the man who's been carrying this burden alone, the brother who's watching his twin die by inches, the alpha who's failing to protect the person he loves most. Then his phone buzzes, shattering the moment. He steps back, walls sliding into place as he checks the message. The council wants to meet before tomorrow night's ceremony, he says, his voice once again carefully controlled. Are you ready to be formally introduced as my mate? Something cold settles in my stomach. Is that what the blood moon ceremony is? A mating ritual? Among other things. The evasion rankles, but before I can demand a straight answer, Sarah clears her throat. Training starts in 10 minutes if you want to get changed. I nod, but as I head toward my assigned room, I can't shake the feeling that everyone around me is walking on eggshells, carefully avoiding topics that dance just beyond my understanding. An hour later, I'm dripping with sweat and glowing with silver light as Sarah puts me through the most challenging workout of my life. We're in the training facility's main room, a space lined with mirrors and padded mats. A handful of other warriors watch from the sidelines, their expressions mixing respect with wariness. Again, Sarah commands. Channel the power into your strike, but don't let it consume you. I center myself, feeling the familiar tingle of energy gathering in my core. This time, when I throw the punch at the reinforced heavy bag, silver light flows down my arm and erupts on impact. The bag, designed to withstand lycanthrope strength, tears completely in half. Better, Sarah nods approvingly. But you're still fighting the power instead of directing it. It's part of you, Luna, not some foreign invader. It doesn't feel like part of me, I pant, wiping sweat from my forehead. It feels like wearing someone else's skin. Because you've been suppressed for so long. She tosses me a water bottle. Your parents didn't just bind your fertility. They bound your connection to your wolf, to your power, to your very essence. It's going to take time to fully integrate. How much time? That depends on you. And on how much you're willing to trust the process. Trust. There's that word again. I take a long drink of water, considering how much my relationship with trust has changed in just a few days. When I arrived here, I trusted no one, expected nothing but betrayal and disappointment. But Kieran. He's been patient with my walls, honest about his brother's condition, respectful of my boundaries even as the mate bond pulls between us. He cares about you, you know, Sarah says quietly, as if reading my thoughts. He needs me to save his brother. Both things can be true. She sits beside me on the bench, her expression serious. I've known Kieran since we were children. I've never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you. Heat blooms in my chest, but I force it down. The mate bond isn't a guarantee of anything. You think every mated pair actually falls in love? Please. Sarah snorts. Half the mated couples I know can barely stand each other. What you and Kieran have is different. We barely know each other. Don't we? She gives me a knowing look. You've been here 3 days, and you're already finishing each other's sentences. You calm his wolf just by being in the same room. And the way your power responds when he's near. She's right, and I hate that she's right. When Kieran touches me, when he looks at me with those storm gray eyes, everything inside me settles into place like puzzle pieces finding their proper positions. It scares me, I admit. Good. It should. Real connection is terrifying. She stands, stretching. But Luna? Don't let fear make you run from something that could be extraordinary. That evening, I'm getting dressed for dinner when a soft knock interrupts my thoughts. I open the door to find a young woman with Kieran's dark hair and his penetrating gaze. You must be Luna, she says with a warm smile. I'm Lydia, Kieran's cousin. I wanted to meet the woman who's got our unflappable alpha king tied in knots. I can't help but smile back. I'm not sure about the tied in knots part. Oh, trust me. Yesterday he reorganized his entire office because he was too nervous to sit still. Raven found it hilarious. Her expression dimmed slightly at the mention of Kieran's brother. Before things got worse. Can I ask you something? I say impulsively. Of course. What exactly is this blood moon ceremony tomorrow? Everyone keeps being vague about the details. Lydia's smile falters, and she glances around nervously. Maybe you should ask Kieran about that. I did. He wasn't exactly forthcoming. She bites her lip, clearly torn. Luna, I really think. Please. I step closer. I need to know what I'm walking into. After a long moment, she sighs. It's not just a mating ceremony. It's a fertility ritual. Ancient magic to ensure conception during the blood moon's power. My blood turns to ice. What? The prophecy about your child, it's not just that they'll be powerful. According to our seer, a child conceived during tomorrow's blood moon will have the ability to break any curse, heal any wound. She looks miserable. Including the one killing Raven. The world tilts sideways. Kieran wants me to get pregnant. Tomorrow night. Luna, it's not like that. Isn't it? Fury begins to build in my chest, along with the familiar burn of silver power. Let me guess, if I don't conceive during this narrow window, Raven dies? Lydia's silence is answer enough. Get out. The words come out deadly quiet. Luna. Get out. Silver light explodes from my skin, and Lydia flees, the door slamming behind her. I stand in the middle of my room, power crackling around me like lightning, feeling more used and betrayed than ever before. He lied to me. Kieran promised partnership, promised choice, but this was always the plan. Get the broken wolf to trust him, then use her like a breeding mare to produce the miracle child who could save his brother. I'm still seething when he arrives an hour later, not bothering to knock before entering my room. We need to talk, he says. Do we? Or do you just need to make sure your prize heifer is ready for breeding? I whirl to face him, power making my hair float around my face like a silver halo. His face goes carefully blank. Who told you? Does it matter? The important thing is that I know the truth now. I take a step toward him, and he actually retreats. Good. Tell me, Kieran, was any of it real? The patience, the understanding, the glimpses of the man beneath the crown? All of it was real. Bullshit. You needed me pregnant, so you played the role of caring mate to soften me up. That's not. Then explain to me why you're just now mentioning that tomorrow's ceremony requires me to conceive or your brother dies. He runs a hand through his hair, looking suddenly exhausted. Because I knew you'd react exactly like this. You mean rationally? With appropriate outrage at being manipulated? You're not being manipulated. His voice sharpens. I told you from the beginning that I needed you to save Raven. You said my power could heal him. You didn't say I needed to pop out a magical baby. The seer's visions aren't always clear. Stop. I hold up a hand, disgusted. Just stop lying to me. How long have you known the exact requirements? His silence stretches long enough that I have my answer. Since the beginning, I whisper. You've known since you found me in that truck that I'd need to bear your child. Luna. No wonder you gave me a choice about staying. You knew I'd eventually agree to come with you, knew I'd start to trust you, start to care. Betrayal tastes like copper in my mouth. You played me perfectly. It wasn't a game. Wasn't it? Find the broken wolf, make her feel special, get her pregnant, save the brother. Mission accomplished. Power pulses through the room, making the windows rattle. Except for one small problem. What's that? I'm leaving. I move toward the dresser where I've kept my few belongings. Tonight. Now. His hand shoots out to grip my wrist, but I jerk away before he can touch me. The last thing I need is the mate bond clouding my judgment further. You can't leave. Watch me. If you go, Raven dies. I spin to face him, power crackling between my fingers. Then maybe you should have thought of that before you decided to lie to me. Again. I never lied to you. Omission is still deception, and you know it. I grab my jacket, the only thing I really care about taking. Find another broodmare, Your Majesty. This one is off the market. I'm almost to the door when he speaks again, his voice so quiet I almost miss it. Your biological father sends his regards. I freeze, my hand on the doorknob. What did you say? Marcus Blackwater. The alpha who cursed Raven. Kieran's voice is carefully neutral. He's your real father, Luna. Your mother's brother-in-law was never meant to breed with pack royalty, but one night during a territorial dispute. The world spins around me. You're lying. I have the DNA results if you'd like to see them. Marcus discovered the truth when you were 5. That's when he placed the infertility binding on you. Kieran moves closer, and I'm too shocked to pull away. He couldn't kill his own daughter, but he could make sure you'd never fulfill the prophecy. No. But even as I deny it, pieces click into place. My mother's guilt whenever anyone mentioned my birth. The way Marcus always looked at me like I was a puzzle he needed to solve. The binding spell that no ordinary pack which should have been able to cast. He cursed Raven specifically because he knew I'd come looking for you, Kieran continues relentlessly. Everything, your supposed infertility, your family's shame, even the slave traders, it was all orchestrated to keep you from discovering your true power. I sink down onto the edge of the bed, legs suddenly unable to support me. My whole life has been a lie. Not the parts that matter. He kneels in front of me, his eyes intense. Not who you are beneath all the deception. Not your strength, your courage, your compassion. You don't get to comfort me. I look up at him, tears I refuse to shed burning my eyes. Not when you're just another person using me. I'm not using you. Then let me leave. Right now, no conditions, no guilt trips about your dying brother. He's quiet for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is raw with honesty. I can't. Not just because of Raven, but because the thought of you walking away is killing me. The mate bond isn't what I'm talking about. He reaches toward me, then stops when I flinch away. I've felt the mate bond before, Luna. With someone else, years ago. It was nothing like this. You had another mate? The question slips out before I can stop it. She died in the same attack that first wounded Raven. Marcus's wolves, targeting my family's bloodline. His jaw tightens. But what I felt for Sarah was comfortable, familiar. A steady flame that warmed without burning. And this? This is wildfire. This is lightning storms and earthquakes and every force of nature that can't be controlled or contained. His eyes meet mine. This terrifies me as much as it does you. For a moment, I'm tempted to believe him. The raw honesty in his voice, the vulnerability in his expression, it feels real in a way that makes my chest ache. Then I remember Raven's silver eyes, the ceremony tomorrow night, the careful way everyone's been handling me. It doesn't matter, I say quietly. Real or not, you still lied to me. You still planned to use me. I stand up, moving toward the door again. This time he doesn't try to stop me. Where will you go? He asks as I reach for the handle. I don't know. Somewhere far away from lying alphas and ancient prophecies and magic that wants to use me as a weapon. I pause, looking back at him one last time. Tell Raven I'm sorry. Tell him his brother's failure isn't his fault. Luna. But I'm already gone, shifting mid-stride as I leap from the second-story window. My wolf form hits the ground running, silver light trailing behind me like a comet as I disappear into the forest. Behind me, a howl rises into the night, long, mournful, and full of grief. But I don't look back. I can't afford to look back. Not when looking back might make me turn around, and I refuse to be anyone's salvation but my own. The blood moon rises tomorrow, but it will rise without me. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank. Chapter 4. I run until my wolf form can't take another step, until my paws are bloody and my lungs burn with each breath. Dawn finds me collapsed beside a mountain stream, my human form naked and shivering as the adrenaline finally fades. I've put maybe 50 miles between myself and Kieran's territory, but it doesn't feel like nearly enough. The mate bond stretches between us like a physical wound, growing more painful with each mile I've traveled. Every instinct screams at me to turn around, to go back to him, to fix whatever's broken between us. But I can't. Won't. I refuse to be another woman used and discarded when her purpose is fulfilled. The sound of approaching footsteps makes me scramble for the clothes I'd stashed in my wolf form's mouth during the run. By the time the stranger emerges from the tree line, I'm decent but hardly presentable. Luna Ravencrest. The voice is rich, commanding, with an accent I can't quite place. Or should I say, Luna Nightshade? I spin around to face a man who looks to be in his 50s, with silver-streaked dark hair and eyes the exact shade of my own, a deep blue-green that I've never seen in another living soul until now. He's tall, imposing, with the bearing of someone accustomed to absolute authority. Power radiates from him in waves that make my newly awakened abilities sing in recognition. I don't know what you're talking about, I say, but my voice comes out uncertain. Of course you don't. Those fools you called parents made sure of that. He steps closer, and I notice the intricate silver pendant hanging around his neck, a crescent moon cradling a star. My name is Maddox Nightshade, and I'm your uncle. Your real uncle, not that pretender Robert Ravencrest. My blood turns to ice. That's impossible. Is it? Look at me, child. Really look. He gestures to his face, and I can't deny the resemblance, the bone structure, the eye color, even the way he holds himself. You have your mother's eyes and your father's stubborn chin. Both of them died protecting you when you were 5 years old. No. The word comes out strangled. My parents are alive. There. The people who sold you to slavers rather than admit the truth about what you are? His voice turns harsh. The ones who allowed a binding spell to cripple your very essence. Stop. Power begins to crackle along my skin, silver light responding to my emotional turmoil. I should have come for you sooner, Maddox continues, ignoring my distress. But I thought you were safe with the Ravencrests. I thought they'd care for you as if you were their own blood. Instead, they tried to erase everything that made you special. Even if what you're saying is true, and I'm not admitting anything, what do you want with me now? To give you what's rightfully yours. His eyes begin to glow with an otherworldly light. To restore your heritage as the last daughter of the moon goddess's chosen bloodline. The words hit me like physical blows. The last daughter? Your parents, your real parents, were Elena and David Nightshade, direct descendants of the first wolves blessed by the moon goddess herself. They ruled the Western Territories with wisdom and justice until Marcus Blackwater orchestrated their assassination. Rage colors his voice. He knew that as long as the Nightshade line survived, his own claim to power would remain illegitimate. I sink down onto a fallen log, legs suddenly unable to support me. Marcus killed my real parents? And would have killed you too, if I hadn't spirited you away to safety. The Ravencrests were supposed to be temporary guardians until it was safe for you to reclaim your birthright. His expression darkens. Instead, they kept you ignorant and bound, content to let the true royal line die with you. Royal line? My voice comes out as barely a whisper. You are Princess Luna Nightshade, rightful heir to the Western Territories and avatar of the moon goddess herself. He kneels before me, his voice reverent. Your power isn't just the ability to heal or purify, it's the divine authority to reshape the very foundations of Pax society. The silver light around me intensifies, responding to his words. But instead of feeling honored or awed, I'm overwhelmed by crushing responsibility. Everyone wants to use me for something: breeding, healing, reshaping society. When do I get to just be Luna? I don't want to be an avatar, I say quietly. What you want is irrelevant. His tone turns sharp. Thousands of wolves live in oppression under tyrants like Marcus Blackwater and, yes, Kieran Shadowmoon. They need a true leader to free them. Kieran isn't a tyrant. Isn't he? He kidnapped you, lied to you, planned to use your sacred bloodline to produce an heir for his own selfish purposes. Maddox stands, beginning to pace. He's no different from any other alpha who sees you as a means to an end. That's not, I start to protest, then stop. Because isn't that exactly what Kieran did? It doesn't matter. I'm not going back to him. Good. Because I have a proposition for you. Maddox turns to face me, his expression intense. Allow me to break the binding on your powers completely. Embrace your true heritage. Take your rightful place as the moon goddess's chosen. What's the catch? Kieran Shadowmoon must die. The words fall into the silence like stones into still water. As long as he lives, he'll continue to corrupt the natural order, to use his strength to dominate rather than protect. The Western territories need a ruler who serves the moon goddess, not their own ambitions. Horror crawls up my spine. You want me to kill him? I want you to execute a false king who has caused immeasurable suffering. His eyes blaze with fervent conviction. His very existence is an affront to everything sacred. No. I stand up, backing away from him. I won't murder anyone, no matter what they've done. Even if it's the only way to save thousands of innocent lives. Even if it's what the moon goddess herself demands. He pulls out an ornate silver dagger, its blade etched with symbols that seem to ride in the morning light. This is consecrated with divine power. One strike, and his corrupt reign ends forever. I said no. Power erupts from me in waves, sending Maddox stumbling backward. But instead of deterring him, my display of strength seems to excite him. Yes, he breathes. This is what you were meant to be. A force of divine justice, not some alpha's breeding stock. The binding on my powers chooses that moment to crack completely. Pain beyond description tears through me as years of suppressed energy explode outward all at once. My vision goes white with agony, and I'm dimly aware of screaming. Mine or someone else's, I can't tell. Power pours from me like water through a broken dam, wild and uncontrolled and absolutely terrifying. When the worst of it passes, I find myself on my knees in a circle of scorched earth. Trees in a 30-foot radius around me are stripped bare, their leaves turned to ash. The stream has frozen solid, and the very air tastes of ozone and moonlight. Magnificent, Maddox whispers. With training, you could level entire cities. I don't want to level cities. I struggle to my feet, horrified by the destruction I've caused. I want to heal people. Healing comes after justice. He offers me the consecrated dagger again. Kieran Shadowmoon has deceived you, used you, planned to imprison you with a child you never chose to carry. Doesn't he deserve punishment for those crimes? For a moment, I'm tempted. The fury I felt when I learned about the blood moon ceremony burns fresh in my memory. The way everyone in his pack carefully managed me, handled me like a volatile explosive that might go off at any moment. The lies, the manipulation, the calculated way he'd made me trust him. But then I remember other things. The genuine pain in his eyes when he spoke about his brother. The way he'd listened to that Omega's complaint in the dining hall. The patient way he'd helped me understand my powers, never pushing, never demanding. The way he'd let me leave when I asked. He's not perfect, I say slowly. But he's not the monster you're painting him to be. He's dying, Luna. The words hit me like a physical blow. What? The curse that's killing his brother? It's in Kieran's bloodline too. He has maybe 3 weeks before it claims him. Maddox's smile is cold. He didn't tell you because he needs you pregnant before he dies. One last manipulation to ensure his legacy survives. The world spins around me. Kieran is dying. That's why the urgency about the blood moon ceremony, why everyone walked on eggshells around the topic. Not just to save Raven, but to save Kieran himself. And to ensure the shadow moon line continues through our child. You're lying, I whisper. Am I? Reach out with your new abilities. Feel for his life force. Maddox steps closer. You'll sense the corruption eating him from within. I don't want to, but I can't stop myself. My power unfurls like a seeking tendril, stretching across the miles back towards Shadow Moon territory. When I finally locate Kieran's distinctive energy signature, my heart breaks. He's dying. The curse is a cancer in his very soul, spreading through every cell, every breath. I can feel his pain, his exhaustion, the way he's fighting to stay strong while his body fails him. And I can feel something else, his desperate, consuming love for me. Not the calculated affection of someone using me, but the raw, overwhelming need of a man who's found his other half just as death comes to claim him. He loves me. Really, truly loves me, with a devotion that takes my breath away. But he also planned to get me pregnant without telling me he was dying, which means our child would be born an orphan. Now do you understand? Maddox asks softly. He's been deceiving you from the very beginning. Even his love is tainted by selfish desperation. It doesn't matter. The words surprise me even as I say them. I won't kill him. Then you condemn thousands to suffer under his corrupt rule. His rule isn't corrupt. I turn to face my uncle fully, power making my hair float around my face. I've seen how his pack operates. They're happy, healthy, free to speak their minds. That's not tyranny. It's a facade to hide his true nature. No, it's not. And suddenly I'm absolutely certain. You want me to kill him because he's a threat to your own ambitions. You don't care about justice or the moon goddess or oppressed wolves. You just want power. His mask slips, revealing the calculating mind beneath. Clever girl. But wrong about one thing, I do serve the moon goddess. And she has commanded that the old bloodlines must be purified. By genocide? By any means necessary. He lunges forward with the consecrated dagger, moving faster than any normal wolf should be able to. But I'm not normal either, not anymore. Silver light explodes from my hands, catching him mid-leap and slamming him backward into a tree with enough force to crack the trunk. The dagger goes flying, landing point first in the frozen stream. You can't run from your destiny forever, he snarls, picking himself up. You are the last of the moon goddess's chosen. That power will consume you if you don't learn to channel it properly. Then I'll figure it out myself. Without guidance? Without training? He laughs bitterly. You'll be dead within a month, and your power will die with you. Maybe. But at least I won't be a murderer. I turn and walk away, leaving him standing in the circle of destruction my awakening has caused. Behind me, I hear him call out one final warning. When the darkness comes, when the ancient enemies return, you'll wish you'd listened to me. The moon goddess's avatar is meant to be a weapon, Luna. Pretending otherwise will get everyone you care about killed. His words follow me as I shift back into wolf form and begin the long run back towards Shadow Moon territory. Because despite everything, the lies, the manipulation, the impossible situation, I can't let Kieran die alone. Not when I finally understand that what's between us is real. Not when I've seen the depth of his feelings through the mate bond. And definitely not when I have the power to save him. The blood moon is tomorrow night, and maybe Maddox is right about one thing. Maybe I am meant to be a weapon. But I choose who I aim myself at, and right now, that's the curse trying to steal the man I love. Even if he is the most infuriating alpha in existence. Even if trusting him again might break my heart. Even if it means embracing a destiny that terrifies me. The moon goddess can have her avatar. But she's getting one who fights for love, not conquest. One who heals rather than destroys. One who chooses her own path, consequences be damned. I run toward an uncertain future, silver light streaming behind me like a comet, and for the first time since this all began, I'm not running away from something. I'm running toward it. Toward him. Toward the truth of what we could be together, if we're brave enough to try. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 5. The sounds of battle reach me while I'm still 5 miles from Shadow Moon territory. Howls of pain and rage pierce the morning air, punctuated by the sharp crack of gunfire and the metallic clash of weapons. Smoke rises from multiple points across Kieran's lands, black columns against the pale sky that tell of buildings burning, lives lost, everything I care about under siege. I push my wolf form harder, silver light streaming behind me as I race toward the chaos. Through the mate bond, I can feel Kieran's pain, his fury, his desperate determination to protect his pack. But underneath it all is a growing weakness, the curse eating away at his strength even as he fights for his people's lives. Hold on, I send to him through our connection. I'm coming. His shock and relief flood back to me, followed immediately by fierce protectiveness. Stay away. Too dangerous. Like hell. I crest the final hill and see the full scope of the attack spread below me. Maddox's forces. Easily 300 wolves have surrounded the main compound. But they're not alone. Human vehicles ring the outer perimeter, and I catch glimpses of figures in tactical gear moving with inhuman speed and precision. The slave traders. They've returned with reinforcements. And at the center of it all, standing on a rise overlooking the battle, is a figure that makes my blood turn to ice. Tall, draped in shadows that seem to move independently of any breeze, with eyes that glow like embers in a face too perfect to be entirely human. A supernatural hunter. The kind of creature that exists solely to harvest rare bloodlines for power. 3 factions, I realize with growing horror. They're all here for me. Maddox wants to use my power to reshape pack society according to his vision. The slave traders want to sell me to the highest bidder. And the hunter wants to drain every drop of divine blood from my veins. Below, Kieran's wolves are fighting valiantly, but they're outnumbered and caught between multiple enemies. I watch Sarah take down 2 of Maddox's warriors before a human sniper's bullet catches her in the shoulder. She staggers but keeps fighting, blood streaming down her arm. I have to end this. Now. I shift to human form at the edge of the battlefield, power crackling around me like controlled lightning. The moment my feet touch the ground, every supernatural being within a mile radius feels it. The fighting slows, then stops entirely as hundreds of eyes turn toward me. Enough. My voice carries across the valley, amplified by divine power until every word rings like a bell. You want me? Here I am. Maddox is the first to move, leaping down from his position with inhuman grace. Niece. I hoped you'd see reason. I have seen reason, I reply, walking steadily toward the center of the battlefield. I've seen 3 different groups willing to slaughter innocents for the chance to control me. We're trying to save you, calls out one of the human agents. That supernatural freak will drain you dry. Well, you'll just sell me to the highest bidder? I laugh, but there's no humor in it. At least he's honest about his intentions. The hunter speaks for the first time, its voice like wine through dead leaves. The moon goddess's bloodline has been corrupted by mortal concerns. I will purify it, preserve it, make it eternal. By killing me. Death is merely a transition. Your power will live forever. My power will die with me, I say firmly. Just like it should. The admission sends shockwaves through all 3 factions. Maddox's face goes white with rage, the humans start shouting into their radios, and the hunter tilts its head like a predator scenting wounded prey. You don't understand what you're saying, Maddox snarls. That power could reshape the world. You could end the suffering of thousands. By becoming a tyrant myself? By forcing my will on others because I have the strength to do it? I shake my head. That's not salvation. That's just a different kind of oppression. Then what do you propose? The hunter's voice carries genuine curiosity. How does this end? I look around at the assembled forces, wolves with blood on their muzzles, humans with weapons trained on anything that moves, and one creature that shouldn't exist outside of nightmares. All of them here because they want to use me for something. All except Kieran's pack, who fight simply because they're under attack. It ends with the truth, I say quietly. Then, louder, the moon goddess never demanded that I choose a mate. Never required me to bear children. Never asked me to become anyone's weapon. Power begins to build around me, silver light growing brighter with each word. The prophecy speaks of a bridge between worlds. A way to end the supernatural community's isolation, to bring peace between humans and wolves. I spread my arms wide, letting the light pour from me. But everyone was so focused on controlling that power, they forgot to ask what it was actually for. You're talking about revealing ourselves to humanity, Maddox breathes. Ending the veil entirely. Yes. No more hiding. No more fear. No more children sold into slavery because their parents are ashamed of what they are. My voice rises, fueled by righteous anger. No more curses passed down through generations because someone decided that love was inconvenient. The hunter moves closer, its form seeming to waver between shadow and substance. Such a revelation would cause chaos. War. The destruction of both species. Maybe. Or maybe it would force us all to grow up. I turn to face each faction in turn. You want my power? You can have it. But not the way you think. Before anyone can react, I reach out through the mate bond and pull Kieran to me. He appears at my side in a blur of motion, his wolf form magnificent despite the exhaustion I can feel dragging at him. What are you doing? He asks through our connection. Something stupid. Something beautiful. Something that might just work. I place my hand on his massive head, letting our bond flare to life for everyone to see. Silver light mingles with the deep blue of his alpha power, creating patterns that dance across the battlefield like aurora. The moon goddess's power isn't meant to be hoarded, I call out. It's meant to be shared. And then I do something that every instinct screams against. I open myself completely, dropping every barrier, every defense, every wall I've built around my abilities. Raw divine power pours out of me like water from a broken dam, washing over everyone present. But instead of taking from them, it gives. Maddox staggers as years of bitterness and rage are burned away, leaving behind the idealistic young alpha who once dreamed of a better world. The human agents drop their weapons as they suddenly understand exactly what the supernatural community has been hiding from, not monsters, but people trying to survive in a world that fears them. Even the hunter pauses, its perfect features softening as it remembers what it was before hunger for power corrupted it into something else entirely. This is what the prophecy meant, I gasp, the effort of maintaining the connection draining me rapidly. Not conquest. Not control. Understanding. Through the bond, I feel Kieran's amazement, his love, his desperate desire to help me bear this burden. Without hesitation, I pull his strength into mine, letting his fierce protectiveness anchor me as power flows through us both. But it's not enough. The curse still rides through his bloodline, still threatens to tear him away from me. And my power, vast as it is, isn't designed for destruction. It's meant to heal, to bridge, to connect. Raven. His brother's name whispers through my mind, and suddenly I understand. Bring him here, I tell Kieran urgently. Now. Luna, he's barely conscious. Trust me. Moments later, 2 pack members carry Raven into the circle of silver light. His twin brother is a shadow of his former self, silver eyes unfocused, breathing labored. But when my power touches him, something responds. The warrior spirit that's been locked away by the curse. I reach for that spark of defiance, that core of strength that no curse can touch, and pull it forward. Raven's eyes clear for the first time in months, focusing on my face with painful intensity. Use me, he whispers, his mental voice weak but determined. Take whatever you need. I'm not taking anything. I'm giving. And I pour everything I have into the connection between the three of us. Mine, Kieran's, and Raven's spirits intertwining like silver fire. The curse tries to resist, but it was designed to isolate, to separate, to weaken through division. It has no defense against unity. Light explodes outward from our joined hands, washing over the battlefield in waves of pure healing energy. The curse doesn't just break, it's transformed, its poisonous essence purified into something beautiful and life-giving. When the light fades, Raven is sitting up on his own, his eyes their natural green for the first time in months. Kieran has shifted back to human form, the gray pallor of sickness replaced by vibrant health. And I'm still me. Still mortal. Still choosing my own path instead of following some predetermined destiny. The prophecy is fulfilled, but not through sacrifice. Through love. Through the radical act of giving power away instead of hoarding it. Around us, the three factions are in chaos. Maddox's wolves are looking at their leader with new understanding, no longer blinded by his rhetoric. The human agents are arguing among themselves, some calling for retreat while others demand to know why their weapons feel useless in their hands. And the hunter. The hunter is changing, its shadowy form solidifying into something that might once have been elven, beautiful and terrible and utterly transformed by the touch of divine grace. It's over, I announce, my voice carrying easily across the valley. All of it. The hiding, the fear, the endless cycle of violence and retribution. You've doomed us all, Maddox snarls, but his heart isn't in it anymore. The bitterness that drove him for so long has been burned away, leaving behind a confused and frightened man. No. I've given us all a chance to do better. I look around at the assembled crowd, wolves and humans and creatures from the spaces between, all staring at me with a mixture of awe and terror. The veil is falling whether we're ready or not. We can face that future as enemies, or we can face it together. And who's supposed to lead this grand alliance? One of the human agents asks skeptically. I glance at Kieran, seeing my own thoughts reflected in his eyes. Neither of us asked for this responsibility, but we're the ones standing in the center of the chaos, holding the pieces together through sheer force of will. We are, I say simply. All of us. But if you need titles. I take Kieran's hand, feeling the rightness of it settle into my bones. Alpha Queen Luna Shadow Moon has a nice ring to it. His smile is blinding. I love you, he says, loud enough for everyone to hear. I love you too. Even though you're the most infuriating alpha in existence. Only because you make me work for it. 6 months later, I'm standing in the same valley where 3 armies once faced off, watching the groundbreaking ceremony for the first integrated community center. Human and supernatural architects work together on the design, creating something that serves both species' needs. It's been a rocky road. There have been protests, violence, political maneuvering that makes pack politics look simple. But slowly, carefully, we're building something new. Raven runs the military integration program, his experience with the curse giving him unique insight into bridging different ways of being. Sarah heads up the Female Warrior Training Initiative, teaching human women alongside lycanthrope females. Even Maddox has found his place, working with refugee resettlement for supernatural communities that are choosing to come out of hiding. The supernatural hunter, who turned out to be a corrupted Fey lord named Thessarian, has become our most effective diplomatic liaison with the non-wolf supernatural communities. Redemption, it turns out, is a powerful motivator. You're glowing again, Kieran murmurs in my ear, his arms wrapping around me from behind. I look down at my hands and sure enough, a faint silver light pulses beneath my skin. It's been happening more frequently lately, my power responding to something I haven't quite identified yet. It's probably just excitement about the ceremony, I say, but I'm not entirely convinced. His hands slide down to rest on my stomach, and suddenly I understand what my power has been trying to tell me. Or maybe it's something else entirely. I turn in his arms, seeing the same realization dawning in his eyes. Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting? I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just observing that you've been tired lately, emotional, and now your power is reacting to something. His smile is soft, hopeful. When's the last time you had your cycle? I do quick math in my head and feel my breath catch. Oh, Kieran. I think I'm pregnant. His laugh is pure joy as he spins me around, not caring that half the integrated community council is watching us with indulgent smiles. Are you happy? I ask when he sets me down. Are you? I consider the question seriously. When I was with my previous mate, pregnancy would have been expected, demanded, a requirement for my value as a female. Now, it's simply a gift, one more thing we get to choose together. Yes, I say, and mean it completely. But not because of any prophecy or destiny or divine mandate. Because I love you. Because I want to build a family with you. Because our child will be born into a world where their worth isn't determined by their bloodline or their power or their ability to fulfill someone else's expectations. He kisses me then, soft and sweet and full of promise. Around us, the ceremony continues, humans and wolves and others working together to build something unprecedented. The prophecy said I would bridge two worlds. It never specified that I had to do it alone. My name is Luna Shadow Moon, Alpha Queen of the Northern and Western Territories. I am the daughter of murdered royalty and raised by liars, the mate of a king and the bearer of divine power. But most importantly, I am myself. And that, it turns out, was always enough. The crown of silver fire rests lightly on my head now, worn not as a burden but as a choice. And in a world where choice is finally possible for everyone, that makes all the difference. 9 months later, Elena Ravencrest Shadow Moon enters the world under a full moon, her first cry strong and defiant. She's beautiful, perfect and completely ordinary, no silver light, no divine birthmarks, no prophecies written in her stars. Just a little girl who will grow up in a world where being ordinary is the most revolutionary thing of all. And as I hold her against my chest, listening to Kieran sing her a lullaby in the old tongue, I know that this is what winning really looks like. Not conquest. Not control. Not the fulfillment of ancient prophecies. Just love, freely given and freely received. Just choice, honored and protected. Just the simple, radical act of being human in a world that's finally ready to let us all be exactly what we are. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe, like and share this video to continue listening to this type of story daily and also, to appreciate this community too. I would like to hear your wonderful opinion about this story. Please comment below.